Yo, what's going on guys, ExtraFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you a review of the Battlefield 2042 beta, my kind of first impressions of this beta. I have played not a lot, maybe about 10 to 15 total games throughout this beta, and it is coming to a close now, and I thought I would give my overall thoughts of all the good and the bad of this beta. So first of all, I want to say excuse my terrible voice right now. I'm a bit sick right now, so you know what usually happens when you're sick, your voice gets all messed up, and so you're just gonna have to deal with the fact that my voice sounds like a dying frog, but that's okay. So Battlefield for me is an interesting franchise because it's not something I've been playing nearly as much as Call of Duty, obviously, but I've really enjoyed it when I have played it. I started playing Battlefield games in 2013, around the time Battlefield 4 came out, and if you actually check my channel and you filter the videos from oldest to newest instead of newest to oldest, and you see my early uploads, some of my first uploads were actually Battlefield 4 videos. Like early on, I made a video, my first impressions of Battlefield 4. It was a terrible video, obviously, because I was 13 years old talking about a video game. A terrible video, but it got a decent amount of views, and I loved the game. Battlefield 4 was a great time for me, and I didn't love Call of Duty Ghosts that much, so instead of playing Ghosts all day, I actually went and played Battlefield 4 a decent amount, and I liked it enough to the point where I went back and played Battlefield 3 once or twice, didn't really play much more than that. Any game before Battlefield 3 though, I've never touched until very recently, where I on stream tried a couple of the older Battlefield games out. It's kind of hard to get lobbies, but when it comes to every Battlefield after 4, I have played it. Have I played them a lot? Not really, honestly. Battlefield 1, I probably played 20 total games in my life. Battlefield 5, I probably played like 30 or 40 total games maybe. And then the Battlefront games are a little bit different. I played a lot more of those. And then you have Hardline, and I played a little bit of that here and there. But regardless, I enjoy Battlefield a lot. It's one of my favorite multiplayer franchises, even though I haven't really played it that much because I spend most of my time playing Call of Duty. So what are my impressions of this? This is basically coming from a Call of Duty fan. I'm not like a Battlefield veteran in any way, shape, or form, so I know there's a lot of Battlefield fans who don't like certain things about this game. I can't really relate to them because I'm not really a Battlefield veteran. I'm a Call of Duty guy. That's just how it's always been. But long story short, I had a fantastic time with this beta. From the 15 or so games I played, a fantastic time. So let's start off with everything I loved about it, and then we'll obviously get into stuff that I didn't love about it. First things first, the movement is incredibly smooth. I've always felt like Battlefield's movement was never that good. It was never terrible, but in comparison to Call of Duty was always the smoother game to me. Whether or not Battlefield games looked better, that doesn't really matter. I care more about how it kind of feels, and I always felt a little clunky in Battlefield. Not necessarily like the aiming and shooting, but when it comes to just like the movement, I felt like my character wasn't moving like a normal human being. Rather, it was kind of like jiggly. I can't even explain it, but this game's movement to me feels more similar to a Call of Duty game. It feels smoother. The sliding is crazy good. Like, you slide far, and I know a lot of hardcore Battlefield fans who actually don't like this. I've been seeing some people saying that it's too different from your typical Battlefield game, and I don't really care if it's different. I just want it to be good, and I think it's incredibly smooth, and the game actually feels really good to play when it comes to the movement. So I'm very happy with that, like insanely happy. Another thing that I really love is the time to kill and the overall feel of killing people in this game. It feels really good. It just feels very smooth. I think time to kill should usually be slower in most games. I'm not a big fan of fast time to kills. I think you guys know that. I'm not like gonna hate the game automatically if it has a faster time to kill, but it definitely is a negative if it does have a faster time to kill. And this game definitely feels a little bit slower than most Battlefields. It doesn't feel like it's the slowest they've ever had. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the exact statistics on that, but it definitely feels slower than most Battlefields I've played, to the point where I feel like gunfights exist, and there's a lot of instances where I'm, getting shot at from behind, and then I'm able to do a 180 and take out that guy, assuming that guy is not very accurate. I've had a lot of moments like that in this beta, and that makes the overall situations I get into a lot more fun. And the guns are pretty accurate. Like, they don't have that much recoil, which I've seen some people say that's a bad thing. But if you're going to have a slower time to kill, you shouldn't make the guns have a lot of recoil as well. But the aiming also doesn't feel like that strong. Like, the aim assist does not feel that strong in this game. So I think when you kind of mix a slow time to kill with a not strong aim assist with low recoil, it actually makes it all work perfectly, in my opinion. Like, you have to really just make all of the things work in cohesion with each other, and I think the way they did it does feel pretty good, because I'm not like, laser beaming people because of the no recoil, because I mean they take a couple of shots to kill, so I still have to put some more bullets and some more effort into it. And because the aim assist doesn't feel that strong, at least from when I was playing, maybe there's ways to make it feel stronger, I don't know, but the settings I had, it didn't feel that strong, so I still had to try to keep my shots on target. Even if the recoil wasn't really there, it's still gonna be a little bit of recoil, especially at a distance, and players are never gonna be standing still either. They're gonna be moving around and stuff, so I have to keep my shot on target. So I felt like there was a level of skill involved there, and I really did enjoy that. I found myself having a lot of fun with gunfights in this game. In terms of the map, I like the map. I don't love it necessarily. Like, I kind of prefer the more urban Battlefield maps with like buildings and stuff, because there's more places to do destruction stuff with, and there's more places to kind of go in and out with some close quarters situations. This was definitely a more open map, which was very good for snipers. And if you wanted to use like a, close quarters weapon, you kind of had to go into the buildings and kind of just stay in those buildings. But I felt like this was a definitely more open map, which I tend to not prefer when it comes to Battlefield games. But this is just one of the many maps we're going to get in the game. And then we're going to have the other modes as well. So it's going to be very, very content heavy, I'm sure, in terms of the different variety of maps that we're going to get. I don't think every map's going to be like this. Was it the best map for them to start off with? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the other maps yet, but I think I would have preferred something more urban just for my first impressions of the map. But even then, I still enjoyed the map. I didn't hate it or anything. It was still had a decent amount of spots where I could do well with like an SMG or an AR up close. And one of my favorite things about the map is the tornado. Probably one of the coolest things I've seen in an online multiplayer game. It was awesome. I don't even know how this game functions. Like, yeah, we'll talk about that in my negatives. There are a few, glitches and such here and there, but I'm surprised this game even functions. Like, having a giant tornado swipe through a map with 128 players on it with destruction and things flying through the air, like, that's impressive for that to actually work. You know what I mean? Like, the graphics to me look great. We're not going to talk about graphics too much because I don't really care that much about graphics, but I've heard people say the graphics look bad. Don't know what the hell they're talking about, because to me these graphics look fantastic for a multiplayer game. Of course, if you're going to compare it to something like The Last of Us or God of War, like some game that's a single player story game, like they're not making a fair comparison there. Those games are a much different sort of experience, and they have different purposes. For this, you have 128 different players on a map with a tornado wiping through it. I don't expect the graphics to be top of the line type stuff, but for what they were and what they are, it's actually pretty good. I think this game looks incredibly well, but the tornado thing was awesome. I like that it doesn't happen every match, it just happens in certain matches, which kind of makes it a little bit more special, so you're not getting sick of it, because it would get repetitive if you kept seeing, oh, a tornado's coming, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Like, yeah, of course, you're gonna always be expecting the tornadoes to happen if it happens every damn match, and it kind of gets old at a certain point. But in my games, out of my 15 games, I've only seen them twice. So that's good. I like that. That's awesome. I'm glad they don't throw it in every single match. It keeps it a little bit more special. That's a big positive in my opinion. And the last thing I want to talk about is the class variety. Some people don't like this, how the class system works in this game, because you're able to use pretty much whatever you want on any class with anything you want. People don't like this because they prefer the class system being very separate, like it has been in Battlefield games, where if you want to be an assault player, you have to use the specific stuff they give you in assault, and if you want to be a support, you have to use all the stuff they give you in support. And although that makes sense, I personally don't care, because I have always been the type of player who only really likes to use certain guns like ARs and SMGs. I don't really use snipers, I don't use shotguns. So if you have a specific loadout or specialist or whatever specific class that only has those guns, I'm probably just not going to use that class at all. Like, if you go back to old Battlefield games, most of the time I'd be using the assault class, and that's about it. I wouldn't touch any other class, and I feel like that was taking away some of the variety I could have had if they just let you use whatever you wanted. I'm not really against either way. I'm just kind of throwing this in the middle here, but I kind of liked it. Like, I was able to use whatever I wanted with whatever gear I wanted, whatever equipment I wanted. It felt more freeing to me, but I could see why some hardcore Battlefield veterans would be a bit upset with this change. Personally, I didn't care too much. I actually kind of liked it. So that does it for all the positives. Let's get into the negatives Funny thing is, there's really not much to say in the negatives. The only things I really didn't like, first of all, yes, there was a lot of glitches and bugs. I didn't experience a million of them like I saw some other people experiencing them, but yes, there were a lot of visual glitches. Like on my screen, you would see these flashes of light appearing, and you would also have some glitches like through the map and stuff. I had that happen a couple times. Sometimes the parachutes would stick on the person's back, and it would look really weird. Mainly just visual glitches, nothing like too serious. Some of the guns sometimes wouldn't function properly with the attachments. The attachments wouldn't stay put on the weapon at all times. And I also wish they could let us like customize our weapons in the menu so we don't have to put them on every time we load in ourselves with the little attachment adding system that they added. Now, I think that's something that will probably change for launch. A lot of these complaints I'm going to have right now for the negatives are things that probably will fix for launch, to be honest, which is a good sign. Like if you go to Call of Duty Vanguard and all the problems I had with that beta, most of those problems, I don't expect them to change for launch. So it's a very different situation here, but this is some little things here and there that just kind of bothered me. I think it was a glitch, especially for some of the guns. You literally had to put the attachments on every time you spawned in. I think the AK was like that, at least for me. It never would keep the attachments on, so a bit of a glitch there that just kind of bothered me. And the only other negative I can think of, honestly, is that there's some things that didn't feel good until I changed the settings. Now, I think this is really important for you guys to just mess around in the settings. I think there's way too many settings in most games now. Like, yes, it's more in depth that way, but it gets so confusing, and you kind of have to watch a YouTube video to help you out with it. I definitely recommend going to Exclusive Ace's channel. He does a video on the best settings for him, and those best settings for him worked very well for me. The game felt so much better after I changed to the settings that he thought was best for the game. And I loved the changes he made because some things I didn't like the feel of. For example, I didn't like the feel of vehicles in this game. They didn't feel right to me. I changed some stuff in the settings. Now they feel great. Even aiming and some of the different things with like trying to aim at people, and even the movement too. Like I said, the movement was really smooth, but there were some parts of it I didn't like the feel of. I went around the settings, messed around with some stuff, and it fixed it for me. I think that's a good and a bad thing. Obviously, it's good to have those options in the settings, but to me it's a bad because it's like most players are never going to even know what the hell to do there, especially casuals, and they're going to be playing a completely different feeling game than me because they have these weird default settings. I don't know who comes up with the default settings, but they're never that good. Like, I don't know why we can't come with a good standard for default settings, but for some reason it's rare for us to see that. I think they need to kind of rework what's good for default. For players like myself, it doesn't matter that much because I'm able to go into the settings and change what I want. I'm just saying most casuals out there, they're not going to do that. They're not going to bother. They're going to be like, whatever, I'll just play the default way, and they will have a different experience than me, possibly a worse experience than me, because it just feels off. A lot of things felt off, to be honest, and I feel the same way with Call of Duty even. I have to go through and change like a million different settings to get the exact feeling that I feel like it should be. Of course, everyone has a different, feeling of what they want the game to feel like, but when you have such in-depth settings that most people aren't going to understand, it's kind of hard to make that work, you know what I mean? So those are my only negatives. I don't have any other bad things to say about this game. I'm sure if I was a hardcore Battlefield veteran, I would have more issues, just like with Call of Duty. I'm sure if I wasn't a Call of Duty veteran, I would probably not have as many issues with the Vanguard beta, but because I am a Call of Duty veteran, I had a lot more things to talk about with that game. So do I anticipate I'm making a million videos on Battlefield 2042 when it comes out? Probably not. I'm still a Call of Duty channel primarily, so we'll play it here and there, I'm sure. I'm probably going to play it a lot. If you guys want to see me stream it, go follow me on Twitch down in the description below. I'll definitely be streaming that game there often, but in terms of videos, here and there, if I feel like it, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you on my next one. Peace out.